Hey guys, and welcome to the cabin of the freshly updated Toyota Starlet. Yeah, it's hard to believe. It feels like, I don't know, just like a year ago that the Starlet arrived in South Africa, but already there's a new one. And I can understand why you would think that's surprising. But you have to keep in mind that the Toyota Starlet is the Suzuki Baleno, and the Suzuki Baleno has been on the South African market for a good few years. So it's about time for a proper, thorough, detailed upgrade or facelift. And that is exactly what Suzuki has delivered with this Toyota. Exterior changes to the facelifted Starlet are quite obvious, and in addition to making the car appear more modern and perhaps slightly more expensive, there is also greater visual distinction between the Starlet and Suzuki Baleno than before. Smart dual-tone 16-inch wheels are fitted to this model, and at the rear you'll notice a tail lamp insert into the tailgate. At the front, the focus falls on dramatically different headlamps with LED daytime running lights, a revised grille and quite a lot of chrome. This is the flagship XR model, which is also offered in automatic guise. Right guys, a quick tour of the updated Toyota Starlet's interior, and I must say, sort of at first glance, done a pretty good job here. For a car that costs less than 300,000 Rand, this actually looks pretty upmarket, pretty neat. And yeah, Suzuki have really become masters at making relatively affordable cars look more expensive than what they are. So nice leather wrapped steering wheel. You've got this nice sort of a grey metallic finish, sort of accenting. This is actually a weird dark blue color, and it extends into the soft trim into the doors here, and then more sort of satin silver accenting. It really does look quite nice in here. Spec wise, you have the larger touchscreen infotainment system in this top spec model, and it's Android Auto and Apple CarPlay compatible. And if you hit reverse, then you've got your rear view camera there as well. It does have park sensors at the back as well. Some nice touches is climate control, single zone, nevertheless nice to see climate control, cruise control as well, auto lights, and then a very comprehensive trip computer. It even shows you a little graph how you know your power and your torque outputs as you use them. And of course the most important one is your average fuel consumption display. There's no charging pad, but there is a nice sort of a storage area down here. Dual cup holders, nice storage bin there as well. The door pockets are nice, big. And the driver's seat is height adjustable manually. So, oh, one more thing. Something you don't often see on cars at this price. Rake and reach adjustment for the steering wheel, which really I think is a big plus in terms of driver comfort. In terms of build quality, I mean the car is really well screwed together, and in terms of perceived quality, as I said, it looks really nice, but you know, you can't get away from the fact that much of it is really hard plastic, although it does seem to be hard wearing as well. Single USB outlet in here, and 12 volt power outlet there as well. Yeah, nice work. Okay, and into the back of the Toyota Starlet. Now I'm 1.8 meters tall, and this is my driving position. As you can see, lots of leg room. Strange though that, and I see this quite often on new cars, is that there's only a pocket on the one side, but anyway, that's not a big problem. Lots of leg room, good headroom. The backrest angle isn't adjustable, but it's set at a very comfortable level. The car does have a third full safety belt for a third passenger in the back, although I think it might be a little bit cramped width-wise if those are three adults. Nice touch, ventilation outlets for the rear passengers, as well as two USB outlets. And yeah, I've had a couple of teenagers in the back here, and It's about a 400-kilometer road trip, and they were very comfortable. So, very practical car, I think. So a nice big box-shaped boot is always a plus on a compact family car. Toyota claims 314 liters of packing space, and that is, yeah, that's about what, 34 liters more than what you get out of a Volkswagen Polo Vivo. There is quite a bit of a lip though, so you do have to hoist bags over and into the luggage compartment. There is a parcel shelf as standard. I've taken it out. The spare wheel, however, is only a space saver, which is a bit disappointing. Of course, the seats are split 60-40. You can fold them forward, and then you have a nice big loading area. So guys, as you can see from the scenery, I guess, as well as maybe some engine noise and road noise, I am actually out on the open road in the Toyota Starlet, and I've already done 4 hours of driving today in this kind of condition, sort of highway, some town driving, but mostly 100-120 kilometers per hour. And so I'm probably in a pretty decent position to give you some feedback on the Starlet. I'm in an even better position to give you feedback on the new Starlet because I know its predecessor very well, because my parents actually own the pre-facelift Suzuki Baleno. So straight off the bat, I can tell you that you do feel the difference in the engine. So Suzuki Toyota has put the 1.5 litre 4-cylinder engine that is used in a variety of other Suzukis and Toyotas in this car in place of the previous 1.4 litre engine. And so you have 77 kilowatts, which is pretty decent for a car of this size, and sort of just under 140 newton meters of torque, which admittedly isn't a lot, but in general you're up about 10% in terms of your outputs compared with the previous car. What hasn't changed is that this is a relatively light vehicle, and Suzuki is very good at extracting, you know, good power and efficiency combination out of this particular engine and gearbox. It's also a 5-speed manual gearbox. Again, as with my review of the Vitara Brezza, I would say that seeing as you sort of just over 3,000 revs per minute when you're doing 120 in top gear, and that sort of, you know, when you're at the national speed limit, you do start to get to that point where you feel like, I wish there was a 6th gear. I think it would have improved the fuel economy even more. So the previous car was extremely efficient. My dad, on average, admittedly my dad is a very careful, cautious, slow driver, but he averages 5.6 liters per 100 in his 1.4 liter Baleno. Long road, town, doesn't matter, he ends up at around 5.6. I've been averaging on this trip, which has admittedly been a higher speed trip, as I said, 100-120, and so 6.7. And that's real world fuel consumption with the surfboard on the roof, as well as 2 adult passengers and a full boot. So yeah, a nice uptick in power and performance, which you can feel, and not too much of a penalty, I think, in terms of fuel economy, although it is a little bit thirstier, and if you're going to do a lot of open road high speed driving, probably going to look at around 7 liters to the 100 most of the time. Like the previous car, very refined, very smooth. The gearbox is nice and slick, the clutch is light. So let's talk about ride and handling for a little bit. The thing with the Starlet and with the Baleno is that they're not really aimed at sporty drivers. Toyota really knows this very well. So Even though the car looks quite sporty with its extra chrome and its nice alloy wheels, it's got no sporty pretensions at all. In fact, the changes that they've made to the car in terms of body rigidity, in terms of extra suspension travel at the back, slightly wider footprint on the tires as well. It's really all in the aid of comfort and stability. And Suzuki does that very well with all their cars. What you have is not a car that you want to throw around in the corners. It leans a bit too much. It's got a bit more body roll than, for example, a Polo, which is firmer and sort of lower riding. This is for people who just want a comfortable runabout. And in that regard, it's fantastic. I mean, the ride is very supple, nice plump tires as well. Steering is nice, light, not overly light, not overly heavy. It's precise. And yeah, the car just feels very comfortable, relaxed, and good brakes as well. Backed by ESP, stability control, which is really a must. And so, really hard to fault, especially at the price. Okay, verdict time. Should you buy a Toyota Starlet XR for 295,000 Rand? I can't see why not, to be honest. There really aren't many reasons to ignore this car on the market. It's well built, it's got great spec, it's got a great badge on the bonnet, good warranty, good backup, improved in key areas. It's a lot of car for the money, which these days is incredibly important. The only problem really, I think, is the Suzuki Baleno. Top spec Suzuki Baleno is about 20,000 Rand cheaper. You get a 360-degree camera with that, which you don't in this. You also get heads-up display in the Baleno, which you don't in this. Personally, I'm not a big heads-up display user, so that doesn't really matter to me all that much. But what does matter to me, especially considering the fact that it's 20,000 Rand cheaper, is a longer warranty, 5 years to this Starlet's 3, and also a longer service plan. And so, if I live in a town where there's a Toyota and a Suzuki dealer, and it's between these two cars, I'd buy the Suzuki. If you live in a town where there isn't a Suzuki dealer, buy the Toyota. It's really not rocket science. They're going to sell a lot of these. Either way, for under 300,000 Rand, this is about as good as it gets. Well done, Suzuki. I mean, Toyota.